Alrighty, I see a few people starting to move on in here. I'm going to give it a moment to let people join before we really get kicking underway. But as always, this is a open forum. I don't have any pre-done content, allowing you folks to ask the questions, drive the content on this. So if you have questions, don't be shy. Put those in right away for me. We can get going with those. If there are no questions, do my best to keep it interesting and informative, of course, related to trade ideas and general market. But as I always say, I do prefer it when you folks are asking the questions, driving the content. I think that's a lot better for the community itself. Helps you get out of the software what you're looking for it, versus me just kind of blindly strumming along on general market talk that most anybody could do anyway. So give it another moment here, see what number of people continue to join us. And like I said, questions come in, I'll do my best to keep it interesting and informative. But again, if you have any questions at all, put those into the comments and I will get right to those questions. I will say, all right, does not look like any questions right off the bat coming in. So I will just do a tour around the market. Why not? Monday and all those things like that. Again, though, for those that might just be joining us, this is an open forum. Feel free to ask any questions. I'll get right to those. Don't be shy to interrupt me. Lots of questions do end up coming in. I will get to everybody's questions. No worries. All right. So, all right, let's we'll kick things off here with the general market view, and not much has really changed, to be honest, at this point. We made another new all-time high last week, and then we get a down day Friday, erasing those gains from the prior week. And we started with a gap up this morning here, traded down, reversed, traded back down, didn't quite get the low of the day, and traded back up. And so we're looking flat-ish from last Friday. Good morning. So, one of those things that bothers me. Look, the general direction of the market is up, right? It's not been easy the last several months. We go back all the way here into the end of last year-ish. It gets real choppy and sloppy and grinding. This is a much tougher market environment than obviously just a clear uptrend or a clear downtrend, but that's what we get sometimes. And we're kind of just chopping around in this range for a bit here. This is a kind of market where right now buying breakouts is tough, right? Every time something looks like it's about to break out, you get a break back down on the overall market. So keep that in mind when you're doing your scanning. If it's more swing trade related, look for, right now we want to kind of look for those pullbacks and what's has strength in those pullbacks, right? The overall market. And then when the market puts its feet back under itself, those are the names we want to be taking a look at, have a plan. Should we want to enter them? Should we enter them? Then what is our plan to manage those trades, so on and so forth. So, that's just the kind of general theme that we've got going on right now. Let's see. Place. New program, new live sessions, eat, learn, and ask questions. Fire those questions away. Don't be shy. Do my best to answer those. I don't know everything about everything, but I got some knowledge about some things. So don't be shy. Get those questions in here for me. Outside of the questions, I just will generally talk about the market and the software and stuff like that to fill air time until questions come in. Look at the Qs. Mostly the same here. The SPYs made one more all-time high than the Qs at this point recently. I don't know what their overall track records are over the lifetime, but the same kind of thing. Maybe this is even a little more choppy overall. Try to draw a trend line here. See, we're really piercing that trend line a few times there, a little bit here. But again, the overall direction is higher. This is range bound even longer and chopped even longer than the SPY is, your S&P. And then, last but not least, actually that's a lie, not last. Dow Jones, represented by the DIA here. One's even a tougher predicament, I would say. We got this range here that we gapped up into, right? And we had this massive amount of days down in a row. I mean, percentage-wise, it was an okay drop. Nothing crazy. It wasn't a correction even, but there's just a lot of down days in a row before we saw a bounce. But it saw a really significant bounce. Stayed weak over that bounce. So, we'll see here what happens. Try not to get too ahead of yourselves. And try not to get too ahead of myself as far as, what direction is the market going. Let's, let price digest right now. The direction of the market overall is up, but very, very choppy up overall. And last but not least, IWM. Falling back below that key 220 level. I feel like that 220 level is real pivotal, but I'd keep this in mind too. Whoopsies, what I call a whoopsie, happens on both ends here. We whoopsied up over it, whoopsie back under it, whoopsie back over it, whoopsie back under it, right? So let's just see what happens. Just a lot of chop, and grinding up. And this is the kind of market that if you're rushing into stuff, if you're trying to buy breakouts right now, a good chance you're getting chopped up. Speaking from my own experience. Stock price between $10, $500 is the average. Volume. So that average volume over what time frames? Let's get a scan rocking and rolling here. We're gonna do this as a top list because you're really just listing filters, nothing that would be an alert event. So let me bring over some stuff here so we can build this together, and then you understand building and can go in and tweak scans and build them yourselves at some point. So we'll go new top list, right? And we're going to come to the search tab, and you got all these filters in here. Now, if we have it, you'll find it in the search term. So for example, I know price is right at the top, but I'm just going to type it as an example. Here's price, all the things that have to do with price. I'm going to add that filter, and you said, let's see, 10 to 500 bucks, 10 to $500. All right. And you said average volume. Average daily volume. All right, I'm going to give you an average daily volume of 10 days. We have 5 days, 10 days, and 3 months. So if you got something else to come back with me between the 10 and the 3 months, let me know. If not, we're going to stick with 10 days. So 500,000, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep. All right. You're looking at relative volume, 5 days. All right. Let's go back to 5 days. The more specific you are, the better, right? Because some filters, we have multiple time frames on them. So, I'll come back with questions when there are those 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right. And then you said relative volume. Again, we can search it in here. Now, if you go to build a scan, it's going to start with some defaults and have the scan named and things like that. It's just startup defaults. That's all. You can erase those. You can change the name. Like every time a new user starts a new top list, it'll be called volume leaders. No big deal. You can change that name in here and so on and so forth. So relative volume. Let's add that filter. You said 1.5. All right. And then near supply demand zone. What are we calling a key zone here? We could do a pivot point distance from, R1 from, or R1, R2, resistance 1 or resistance 2 or support 1, support 2, distance just from the pivot. In this case, another supply zone, VWAP, we have VWAP 1, which is today. This is VWAP anchored from yesterday, day before, and day before that. When you say supply zones, it could mean a lot of things. right? There's a whole number of things it can mean. When it comes to our software, we got to work within what we look at here. So I'm going to go with the you're looking for breakups and breakdowns. So if we're looking for a breakdown, how do we want to do this? Oh, and as you go through and build a scan, of course, this is for anybody. If you click on any of our data points and you press the help button after you click on it, you get a web page like this. It's going to give you some definitions and examples and things of that nature here. I think let's go with it. This was breaking out. Let's call it from support. Let's go with support 2 if we're going for breakout right now. We're going to add that filter, and let's say that we're 2% above it. All right. And we're going to name this out here. What do we want to name this one? We'll call it supply demand breakout. All right. We're going to call it V1 just in case we go back and do anything else with this. And, there we go. We got a scan, and here's a bunch of symbols. Right now, they're sorted on the ones that are up the most from the close. If we come back and we configure, we could always change that sort. You can pick any filter in here and sort by that. You could also then add that column, right, if you wanted to. And then you can, on the displayed columns, you can change the order of them afterwards by double clicking and seeing, up the most from whatever the column is, or down the most from whatever the column is. For the moment, I'm going to leave it on this change from close. So the one thing is, so right now, this is just going to give you a real-time list of all the stocks that meet the scan, and it'll just update automatically. If you want an alert, we got to figure out an alert event. So we could take this and convert it to an alert. So we right click, we're going to come to collaborate, and we're going to take this URL here, right click that, copy, okay. I'm going to go new, alert window. I'm just going to press OK because it doesn't matter what's in the default because we're changing that. I'm going to right click that alert window. We're going to come back to collaborate in that. And we're going to get rid of what we've got in here now and replace it with what we just copied. And now this alert window is going to become that supply demand breakout volume 1. And let's go with, we use our running up family. So bullish alerts will always be, now, just so we're clear, the difference between alerts and filters. An alert is an event, something that happened. Filters, you're going to get some kind of range, price range, volume range, SMA range, view app range, so on and so forth. So the way alert windows work is the alert event has to be happening at the same time. All the filters are happening at the same time. So we're gonna use the running up family here. We're gonna use running up, and we're gonna use running up intermediate. So either one of these events is happening while these filters are satisfied, we're gonna get a time-stamped alert. And we can go ahead and let's see here, actions, we can give it a sound. So, oh, sorry, let's do this together. Right click, properties, actions. We're going to check play sound. We can set this to be a text to speech here if you wanted. That's a lot of stuff that's coming in. So, you may want to refine this a little bit more afterwards. I'm going to share it with you with the sound enabled. And we can go back over some other stuff. I see we've got a lot of stuff coming in, but bear with me. We will get to it. We will get to it. So that's the alert version. This is the top list version. And then I want to show you how to save and share these links to the cloud because they will expire. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on that link that I put in there, and that should give you a web page that will look something like this. All right, you get a web page that looks like this. When you click on that, you go ahead and copy that link. And on your menu bar, you're going to go File, load from cloud, and it should auto paste in here. If it doesn't, just paste it, then you'll press load. And then you can right click the scan, save or share to cloud, and then save it. And then it'll be under file, load from cloud, and you will see it there until you erase it. And you can always load that scan from there. So you've got both of those. You can go ahead and load those and save those. And then let me go over some of the things you're still asking here. So you've got another set of scans in there that you're looking for. Let me take a look at your other questions because I think they're more related to what we were just doing. We can circle back to the scans. Got all that, got all that. So yeah, here's the summary of what we just did. So stocks where the price is between 10 and 500, daily volumes at least 500,000 a day. We got that 5-day there. Relative volume where it's at least 1.5, and where we're at least 2% above the S2 line. So we're breaking out. We're there. Now we could dial this in more, right? In the sense of we could look at stocks closer to the S2 and trying to move up, right? With that running up alert, we can do that too. Now, if you want to break down in the reverse, here's a really cool feature that we have. Inside here, we can press flip. And now if we come back here to window specific filters, all right, we've got our filters still set there, but now, oops, where is it? Oh, sorry, we need to be in the alert window flip. I apologize. We need to be in the alert window to flip this one here. What we could do also is make this resistance and then breaking down from the resistance as well. And so that's how we can reverse a scan, one of the alert windows there. No, I know it's a lot. We can build some other stuff together too, because if we build a few of them together, I think you're going to get a much bigger handle on it, or much, much more familiar with it much more quickly if we do it together a few times. So let's build some other stuff together, and we can come back and refine each one of these a little bit too. So candlestick pattern. Yeah, so what you're looking for in that candlestick pattern, I'm sorry, we won't have like a wick reject or reversal, anything like that. Just not something we have. We got a limited amount of limited amount of patterns. Let me go over what we do have. We're going to come to an alert window. So again, if you want to follow along, we'll go new alert window. Now we've got a few geometric patterns, right? And here in the category of the search, we can look at these geometric patterns, all right? So we can see those there. I don't think any of those are really interesting you, but just in case, they exist. And then we can look at candle patterns here. And let me widen this out a little bit. And so we've got, all these different ones. Now, some of them might be close to what you're looking for. Let me think here. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm just kind of going through and trying to think off the top of my head something that might be close to what you're looking for here. Thought we had morning stars, but we don't clearly. I have to come back to that. Let me think if there's a way around that. And the last one, VWAP. So we just have an ATR filter, so I'm looking at your VWAP one. So we can do this, we can look at VWAP, distance from VWAP, add that filter here. And we could say, we're at least at it. Maybe we're no more than 2% above, so we're near VWAP, right? And then when it comes to ATR, . Average true range. We just have the average true range. We don't have a percent as price. We do have other volatility filters. So, first we can add an average true range here. We want it. But we do have other volatility filters. We could do, range, and we can do range as a percent, right? And we can do it over, X amount of days or X amount of time in here. We have 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15, 30, 60, 120, 5-day, 10-day, 20-day range. So, I don't know, maybe if we pick the 5-day range here, something's kind of volatile over the last 5 days, and say we want a minimum of, let's say, 2%, minimum 2% range over the last 5 days. You can give me a price range on this, but let's go with 10 and 500 unless you say something else to keep it in the ballpark that you had before. Get you, let's see, relative volume. Let's go with 2. Make sure things are ticking a little bit. 500K on the shares again. We also have a volatility filter. We can do that in percent as well. And this is going to work off 15-minute candles. And again, we can always come to the help page here. You see stock moves in a 15-minute period. So I should say it's 15-minute periods, not 15-minute candles, because there is a difference between that. Yeah, so let's get that in there. Let's kick that. Let's add that filter. Let's throw 1.5 in there for you. All right. And let's come back to the search here, alerts and filters. And we're going to use that running up again. With that running up, let's add that alert. Let's just see what this looks like here. All right. Recent alert there. Let's look at the history today, just to make sure we're getting some alerts. Not a ton of alerts on this, not a ton, but there are some alerts. We could always loosen things up a little bit here. I wonder if we loosen up that 5-day range. Nah, that didn't really help at all. When I say help, I just mean it doesn't necessarily make the scan better or worse. I'm just trying to get a little more data in here, and then we can refine it from there. Because I always think when you're first building scans, I think it's good to have more alerts than less alerts when I'm first building a scan. This way, I can take a look at all the alerts coming through and say, I like these sets, I don't like these sets. What can I change to eliminate some of these alerts, but make sure that I don't change it enough that I eliminate the alerts that I do like, if that makes sense. Because it's a give and take when we're adding and subtracting filters and their values with the scan. The more filters we add, the stricter the values are, the less data we're going to get. Sometimes that means we'll get more quality data, but not necessarily. And it's that give and take when we're building scans there. Okay, most of my trade over. All right, I got you. Wonder here on this. Let me kick that back down to 1. I'll kick this back up to 2. The other thing that's probably got us tripped on this a little bit is, it gives us some more alerts like that there. One of the things with this is we're looking for stuff right around the view app, no more than 2% above it. So go ahead and save this out. The utility, and we're going to go ahead and pass that right along to as well, just the same as we did before. There we go. We got those now. And then, folks, I see there's a few people in here watching. Anybody else with questions, don't be shy. Please get those in, right? I'm happy to answer multiple people's questions. We can get to, just about everything. I'm here till at least 1 o'clock Eastern. If questions come in, I will stick around a bit longer than that. So don't be shy. Now that wick rejection. Trying to wrap my head around a way that I might be able to do this. Thank you. Let's do some outside the box thinking here. So search. We got rejected, so it means it's moving down. Let's go with a 15-minute low. Add that alert. Position and range. Minute. Let's use a 30-minute range for this position and range. Let's see at least between 35 and 65. And use your 10 to 500. And again, just giving some volume metrics related to things you've given me before. Just see what this is producing here. And we'll see what it looks like on 5 and 15-minute charts here. Man, not a wick reversal. That's the opposite of what you want. So I'm trying to think of like an outside the way box to get things that look like this, but maybe even a higher wick. Let's see here. Let's see. And I see the other Truth Seeker. Bear with me a moment here. I just want to see if I can't get this a little better. So, there are outside the box ways to do things. It's trial and error, of course. And it always helps if I can type right. There we go, Chris. Good job. Try this instead. Now, move to a 15-minute chart. Not quite exactly the wick we're looking for there, but a little bit of a wick. Also, I prefer to call shadows for the purpose of the CMT. All right, we're getting some stuff that's kind of in the ballpark of what you're looking for there. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just look at a couple more stocks on the history here. Yeah, it's not great, not terrible either, though. It's in the ballpark. So it's a good starting point. Back to the configure, we'll call it 15-minute Wick rejection, and we'll go ahead and share that out. And again, just make sure we've taken these scans, make sure to save them to your cloud because these links will expire. And then let's see, True Seeker. Hammer Candle, I think we might have as a list here. Let me check a look here. Look under daily. Yeah, so Hammer Candle. Bear with me. Let me do this as a fresh topless. Sorry, because if I use that topless, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. That's why. Oh, come on. There we go. New top list, symbols list, add existing list. There's hammer. It's already there. List. Okay. And there you go. These are, all the stocks that would have met the criteria for that based on our symbol list technology. So MITK, hammer there. That's a nice hammer. That's a meh hammer. It's not bad, just not awesome. Good hammer. There you go. And it's got a tiny bottom and shadow. Not great on the volume on some of these stocks, obviously. But that's what we'd have for pattern recognition in that regard. Again, you try something out of the box, thinking out of the box. Looking back at yesterday. So changing the previous day's range. Just trying to think if there's an outside the box to do this. 50% above the low. Up 5% from the previous day. $5. But 500K at this point. See what these look like here. Nothing. That ain't gonna work. Position of the previous day's range. That would be for today. That wouldn't work for that. Yeah, that look back. The look back is tough sometimes with these. How do I get those orange points on my chart? That's our trade wave feature. We're on the Windows download. What you want to do is right click the chart, make sure browser interface is checked. And if it is, you should see this FX up here in the top left. Go ahead and click on that FX and click trade wave. And that will give you these buys and sells. It's an EMA crossover. That's an EMA cloud crossover. There's some settings in here as well you can check out under the 3 dots there, 3 dots with the lines. You can have more, if I take that off, press OK, now you're going to see a bunch more of these buy sell flags come on here. I don't like stuff on my charts, to be honest. I just, I have this up to showcase the feature itself so people ask that question. The double top scan, Jason, it works on 15-minute candles. I believe you're talking about I can configure and search. Let's look at geometric patterns. I believe you're talking about this double top. So that's going to work off 15-minute candles. And then some alerts have a filter attached to them. So if I add this alert, we can see here, we can add a filter, right? And then show you a neat trick here with these kinds of things. Bear with me, bear with me. I want to get a fresh look here. Let's go new alert window. Double top, add alert. I just want to get stocks that like look kind of all right here. Right now, in the columns here, for sometimes when you're using filters on the window, or sometimes when you're using alerts that have filters on them, I would say put the description as a column and put the quality as a column too. And I'll show you why here right now. In here, let's broaden this out a whole bunch. Actually, you know what? I lied. Give me 1 second. Let me get rid of columns that we don't really care about right now. We don't need that. We don't need. No, we'll leave that. We'll just get rid of the one. Right. So you can see here in the quality, it's telling you it's looking back 3.25 hours to find that double top on this here. And it's giving you the prices of those tops that it's using and when we started and all that. So, helps you try to narrow down what it's showing versus what you were looking for in it. So that's, you know, the description and the quality columns can give a good hand in that kind of thing. Momentum, confirmation, RSI, divergence. Yeah, there's no divergence, unfortunately, there. Sorry, I'm circling back up there. The only divergence that we have for RSI, they're pre-built scans that nothing can be done with them. They're on a daily time frame. You can't edit these at all. They're in our Market Explorer. So if you go to New Market Explorer, you right-click, you'll get Select Strategy. And you got all these different scans that are in here. There are a few that if you don't have the add-ons, you can't access them. Let's not concern ourselves with that. And under Relative Strength Index, you know, we have a daily divergent and long and short, and we have unable to get oversold, unable to get overbought as well. There are daily time frames there. That would really be it as far as the divergence goes on RSI. I mean, we have RSI filters on some time frames, but we don't have the data points to create a divergence like what I was showing in scan building before. And what you see here in this Market Explorer window, it works off a completely different set of data points and tech and servers that is not it's not accessible for users at this time. So it's things that we've built over here and then push it out to all users. Yeah, exactly, Jason. That's exactly it. And then, you know, if you come in here to the configure and you come to the selected alerts, you know, you can put hours of trading to give minimums of how far you want it trying to look back, essentially. You know, some people believe that the longer a setup takes, the more quality it is. That's the idea behind it. And that would work, that would work, or that would be the concept of any geometric patterns that we offer. And there's a number of others too. Like we have this crossed above resistance alert here. And so it's looking where price is touching a bunch, and the same thing, you can add hours of trading into it to change that out a bit as far as the look back goes. If you don't add anything in the field, it's just going to look for anything that's even, that's even relatively close to what you're asking it to look for a double top. You know, algorithm just going to kind of willy-nilly itself on its own. So, all right, good stuff in this session. Truth Seeker, I'm still trying to wrap my head around a way to get you some hammer candles from yesterday, but I just don't. me see something here. Some old scans in here that maybe something can put us on the track. Bear with me. There's so much junk in here that I haven't cleared out over the years. Like the washout bounce would be for today, and kind of like hammer candleish today. Yeah. But I remember something Steve had created years ago that had, I want to say it was like a 3-day something, not a 3-day bounce though. So many scans over the years. Check one more thing here. Anybody else with anybody else have any thoughts on it? Don't be shy, throw those out there. Pepe, I saw what you were saying. Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of a way to look back. There's just no way to look back at that yesterday like that. I can't wrap my head around the way to get there. Um, I'm going to back look at one of my old PI accounts right now to see if I can see if there's a scan in there that might lead me to it. If nothing else, now I'm just dying to remember what the heck that scan was that Steve built. Um, let's see. Mm, sorry, folks. Sorry for there. Just I'm trying to see if I can find this darn thing. There it is. Let's see if the scan even exists anymore. So it's a 3-day tail bounce optimized. Let's see if it still exists or not, this cloud link. Ah, there it is. Look at that. All right, let's see if it, we have a history on this thing, if anything even comes through it anymore. All right, so yeah, it's looking at things that were down a few days in a row, and it's got the tail today. So yeah, I'm grasping at straws here trying to do that. Curious, what did Steve do in this? A lot going on here. Interesting, interesting. All right, optimized. So he's got some S&P filters in there for that. Curious, curious. Have I added anything else to it there? Nope, certainly did not. So, all right. So yeah, you're just going to use, as far as that goes, you got to use the candle patterns that we talked about before. You come into the configure symbols list, add existing list. It's all alphabetical, so you want to look for daily, expand that out, and look for your hammers there, just like that. All right, cruising along here. think we got all the questions so far. Anybody with questions, do not be shy. Please get those questions in. What else? I'm not a fib user, so we have fib. Um, we have fib alerts, but I mean, how to use them, you know, I just give you the generic, the percents where we're looking to buy or sell the breakdown of essentially, and that's it. We have these fib alerts here that, like the other alerts I said that have the filters in them, you can add those filters. But I am not a fib trader myself. I find it fascinating, I find it interesting, but I find it more interesting in nature itself, the Fibonacci sequence and things like honeycombs and pine cones and stuff like that. But when it comes to my trading, I don't much use it. But this is what we have to offer as far as Fibonacci's go. And like anything else, I really encourage, especially new users, experiment with these things, check them out, load them, create a scan or two, see what comes from it, whether it fits what you're looking for or not. Yes. So we'd want to, where is it? Let's do, I forget, was it quality of description? Let's go with the, and that, let's go with that. I don't use, let's get some volume metrics and price in here. Just go real simple like that. And we get this here. So we're looking at that retracement here. Well, these alerts are flying. Maybe I need to add a little more. I didn't expect to get so many alerts. So yeah, this is looking at as a resistance at 1035 on the candle right there. We'll find that support back to 1032. And started 85 minutes and 25 seconds ago from that alert. So with those descriptions there, they'll tell you where it's coming from. I believe this also, same thing, 15-minute candles. Let me come back and double check that. Yeah, 15-minute. And then, I'll say this too. Between the alerts and filters we have, we've got probably over 500. Nobody uses them all. Not even me. I go over a lot of them because of doing sessions like this with folks. So I've got, I'll say, a little bit of knowledge on most of them. There's some that I have very in-depth knowledge on. Others not so much. I have my personal favorites, like anybody else will, is like anything else. I'm big in the position and range filters. I like the running up family. I like the crossed above resistance filter alert. relative volume can be hit or miss for me. It depends on what I'm doing. It's just because sometimes, relative volume, if you dial it way up and you're looking for a stock maybe that makes a move later in the day, but it's been sleepy during the day, you may not get that relative volume filter satisfied for a while or at all. So it just depends on the scan that I'm building. Generally speaking, yes, the relative volume filter. Also, I'll probably say it's our most popular filter. I would surmise, anyways. We see where it is in its daily range. Yeah, I mean, bear with me here. You get bring over top list. Bear with me. Bear with me. So we can. I think we can do this, right? Hang on. Hang on. Search position. Position and range. Let's show that column. Let's press OK. Let's press OK. And there's a position and range. And then let me see. It's got graphical indicator, or we can go with a percent here, right? If I right click and I come to properties, I can either check the graphical indicator or I can go with the percent for that position range. And the one that says just position and range, that's daily. Is that what you're looking for? I hope, maybe. I'm taking a look at this right here. Right here. You know what, MB? You have to come back on Wednesday and ask Dan. Dan's the one that could really let you know how that all goes. He and some others from the dev side / management team are doing all the testing. I have no hand in the testing. I can tell you it's going well because that's what they tell me essentially. Or tell us in support. I don't really have a basis. I can also tell you that from the original tank of the money machine, where it was trying to just rotate you in and out of the top 3 stocks on those scans, it's not quite like that now. They found that we needed some better trade management logic, and so they've pushed in trade wave for some exits and entry stuff. I think there's some like trailing stop stuff that you can also select. So it's gotten a big makeover since it was first introduced. But I would say come back on Wednesday, and Dan will definitely be able to like guide you the best on it. No, it hasn't been covered today. I haven't. Nobody's asked about it today, but regardless, all good asking about it. As far as the delivery goes, I know Dan wants to push it out sooner rather than later, of course, but he also wants to make sure that we're ready when we do it. There's just been, there's always little development bugs, and sometimes more than others. I wouldn't even call them bugs, just like hiccups along the way where you think XYZ is going to work a certain way and you got to massage a little bit into it. So, the hope was by the end of January, by the end of February. So we'll see where we land on it. He did say when I was listening in last Wednesday when he was doing the session, he did say soon that they were trying to get it in before the end of this month. We got a few days left to see if that happens. Is it 10% from its daily low? I believe so. So this should be 90% above the low, basically, right? So yeah, here's the daily low. And here's the high, and we're not quite at the high. So yeah, that would be 90% above the low or 10% off the high. See if we can find a 10%er here. We got 8. It's close on 15. So now there's the low, right? And we're up from that, whatever the low was there. So the low was 43.13. We're at 43.31 right now. Yeah, that's exactly it. And then the other big thing was, and it was always a concern of ours, is slippage, right? And then the second big concern of ours was halted stocks and things like that could be real dangerous, right? And so, just all these precautions that we want to take. Um, Everybody wants the bot that you just plug in and press play. And while I believe this will be, should this all work how I'm hoping it does and the way it's looking, it will be close, but it's still not, you still gotta have to understand some trading. You're still gonna have to understand risk management. You're gonna have to understand how to set it up in the computer and things like that. It's not pushing the tape in the VCR and pressing play, simplistics, right? There's a little more to it, but it's certainly not going to be the same as also setting up an alert window for automation. It will not be as complex as that. We don't have it as a chart pattern recognition. If you right click and you come to indicators, you just see what we have here for indicators, but we don't have like a double top display on the chart or something like that. You just have to, really eyeball a chart. And all of our indicators, they're universal across the spectrum, whether you got a 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, whatever you got up there. No, absolutely, my pleasure. And also, so winding down here towards the 1 o'clock hour, we have a live traders room that's open. Really, it opens around 7 o'clock in the morning, but it's just a bunch of veteran users in there in the morning until Barry, who runs the room, gets there. And he shares his screen and shares the scans and talks, all kinds of stuff. And he can help with questions about the software as well. So, if anybody's ever interested in joining the room, I can't recommend it enough, and I could never say enough nice things about Barry. Aside from him being just a generally nice guy, his knowledge of trading the software is beyond immense. There's some really helpful people in that room all the time. Pepe is always around. Whether Pepe's around this side on YouTube, he's always checking it out, and also in the traders room too. There's just a number of really good traders in there. I'm not in there as much as I used to be, unfortunately. I like listening in there. I like interacting with the folks in there, but duty calls. I'm not always able to socialize the way I'd want to. So there are a number of great folks in there, and Barry doesn't let any nonsense go on there. So nobody's going to come in there pumping stocks or XYZ is going to the moon or any garbage like that. None of that stuff happens in there. It's just talking about ideas and scans and why we're looking at different things and bounce from this VWAP or a breakdown from this pivot, so on and so forth, those kinds of things like that. A real trader talk going on. So, that room's open to anybody and everybody for free. And I always say this, if you're not in that room, you're really doing yourself a disservice. All right, what else? Anything else, folks? Nothing else coming in for the moment here. I'm going to begin to wrap this up and do an auctioneer's count in my head. We're shut down here. If there are any more questions, I will stick around and we'll answer those, of course. See that bounce in the market stalling a little bit now. Good times. Gap up. Take the gap. Head fake, double bottom. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Man, this market is choppy and sloppy. All right, folks, that will do it for me on this Monday afternoon here. I do greatly appreciate you all coming in. Hope you guys come back tomorrow. Could be me again tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe it's Andy or Steve, but it could be me again tomorrow. We'll see how it all shakes out. As I mentioned before, when MB was asking about the machine, Dan, our CEO, does the Wednesdays. Some really good stuff there. If you're not joining on the Wednesdays, I recommend clearing some time to try to get in there for at least a few minutes. First off, Dan's been doing this for a million years, number one, so experience speaks for itself. And then number two, he's the one that can give you the best insight on, where things stand and where they're going and all those kinds of things like that. So it's a really good mix up for, us to have him in there. After all, he's the one that, came up with a lot of the idea for all of this. And, he really knows how to interact with people very well. He really knows what he's doing behind the mic. He knows what he's doing on his screen. And, like I said, a wealth of knowledge without any question. So, alrighty, folks. I thank you all very kindly again, and I bid you adieu till the next time. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye.